Hello everyone, how are we doing? Sleepy? Wakey wakey? Alright, so yeah, we are almost at the end, but we just want to give you a quick overview of Talkbox, what Talkbox is, what are its features. I think we've talked a lot about JRuby, what JRuby can do, and Talkbox is actually an implementation of the power of JRuby that is available to us developers to make our work easier. So let's go ahead.
So about me, as Gautam said, I have 280 plus commits in Rails core. I'm also in Mongoid core team member. I've created the Omni or Twitter gem. I'm coding in Rails since 2007. You can reach me at agrawal.com or my Twitter handle is arun.
Yeah, and I'm an old guy, so you can see the white hair. No offense, Aviv. But yeah, I've been coding for a long time. I started with Pascal in school, did some C, C++. Last 8 years, I was doing Java, mostly enterprisey stuff. Did a small stint in a startup. No bits of Java and Ruby. Don't know either. Actually, I've forgotten Java now, and I don't know enough Ruby. So I'm like that weird stage right now. But I enjoy using JRuby because it allows me to use both my favorite Java libraries and write great code in Ruby. Uh, Thanks, Charles, for that. And you can follow me on WhatsApp Rocky. My blogs, sometimes a bit controversial, are available on rockyj.in.
So what we will cover is we will talk about the enterprise. We will talk about what is Talkbox. We will demo you how scheduling works, how the services works, how the messaging works in Talkbox, how you can background your process in ease, how the clustering and caching also works in Talkbox, and then we'll talk about some of the performance, and there will be a summary, and there is a surprise for you at the end of the talk. So please stay tuned. So, do you guys know about the coolest feature of JRuby 1.6?
We've been talking about JRuby a lot, so just this is just a pop quiz to see if you have been awake.
Okay, so it's called JIT, Java in Time,
Just-in-time
just-in-time
compiler.
compilation. So, what it will do, it will convert your code into assembly. So, whichever code is like you are executing the most, it will create the hotspot for that, and it's most available. So, your performance will go very really high.
That was just a small pop quiz. Okay, let's talk about the enterprise. We've talked a lot about in these 2 days about Ruby's adoption, how JRuby can help you adopt Ruby in the enterprise. And some of these terms that we hear in the enterprise, we work in the enterprise. So we hear a lot of these things like which make Ruby developers cringe. Soap. You know this guy? Larry Ellison is pretty famous. So actually, there are 4 companies which have like 90 or more percent of market share. It's IBM, SAP, Microsoft, and Oracle. These 4 companies have completely eaten the enterprise. So SAP talks SOAP. Oracle, of course, does Java, and the Oracle database is omnipresent in almost all enterprises that I have worked with. And there's messaging also, like we'll talk about JMS, advanced messaging, things like that. So I think a lot of these things JRuby or Talkbox helps us with, and that is why it is a great tool for helping us adopting Ruby into the enterprise.
So what if? Wouldn't it be great if I could use the power of Java libraries with the ease of Ruby? I could use the power of proven Java servers without writing any XML. And I could deploy my JRuby app and test it without rebuilding and restarting the server. So isn't it great? Because like right now we have Wobbler, which requires you to create the war file and then you have to deploy it and then the application will work. So yeah.
Yeah, so with Talkbox, the first 2 steps are covered with JRuby, Wobbler, Tomcat. We've looked at that. But I really don't want to like create the war file, deploy it, restart my server, all that thing, those things we have to do in Java. You just want to create and run it like you do it on your Webbrick development environment, and that's where Talkbox again helps you. So what is Talkbox? That's the first question that you might ask me. So Talkbox is built upon JBoss Application Server 7. JBoss Application Server has been there for a long time. It is one of the most robust, open source, thriving open source community around it, and it's really well supported in the enterprise. The latest version is JBoss 7, so we are not running. So the Talkbox is not way behind the actual version of JBoss. So what they did over JBoss is they built a layer of JRuby around it, so that you get features that you expect from your normal Ruby application server, and plus some more features are provided for you, so that you never have to write any XML. All you need to do is write YML, some code, and things will be done for you. So everything is there in one box. Right now, what happens is, if you want background tasks, you have to use certain gem. If you want workers, you use Redis or Rescue. All these things, you want something to be scheduled. Some gem uses the cron task. So the server, all these gems provide you the extra functionality. The application server or your passenger or unicorn, that just helps you in serving HTTP pages. But Talkbox does not do that. Talkbox is like an application server box concept, like in Java application servers, where everything is there inside one distributable, inside one zip file. You don't have to install any additional gems to do background tasks, long running services, scheduling, clustering, anything. Everything is supported out of just one single distribution.
Yep. So we can talk about like installation. So you can download the distribution from talkbox.org. It's like tar file, and you just download it and unzip it. Or if you are using RVM, then you can just install Torquebox server pre, because they have released the release candidate 1 recently. It's more stable with JRuby 167. So let me show you how the installation looks. It's somewhere. Just a second. Yeah, so if you download the distribution, then it will, so you can see JRuby comes in, so you can see JBoss here, and you can see JRuby here. So it comes all of the things into one package. So yeah, if you install using RVM, using gem install, then it will take a little while, because it will download all the things as a gem inside your Ruby installer. So let me go back to slides.
So yeah, so we wanted to do a demo, a live demo, though the experience has not been kind so far, and we were really scared. And actually, last night everything stopped working. So when we were in the hotel rooms, even my machine like refused to boot. But thankfully, today morning things have improved. We built a small application, and it's really bad actually. It's a library management system. We just wanted to do some simple CRUD, create books, delete books, read them, create users, some simple stuff like that. And let me see if it's still working. It actually is. And what I wanted to also show you that is it is using Oracle. So Oracle with MRI enterprises, I have faced a lot of problems using the community provided Oracle driver. It's written in C. It uses OCI, and there are a lot of things that can break there. I'm not saying it's bad. It's really good. But sometimes you just face some problems with it. And the JDBC Oracle driver has been like provided by Oracle. It's pretty powerful. It supports all the data types, and in using Talkbox and JRuby, we are actually running this on Oracle with the JDBC driver. All I needed to do that there, of course, was to use the active record JDBC adapter. Sorry about this. This is the Postgres adapter. Forget about that. It actually bundles the JDBC adapter inside it, and inside my JRuby lib, I have put the Oracle driver, and there's also a Java transaction API that was needed actually to get this working. So this actually uses the Oracle driver. It's talking to the Oracle database perfectly and is working. So this is our application. Just very simple stuff.
So yeah, that's all about our application. So now we can talk about like scheduling, how the Talkbox, how the scheduling works in Talkbox. So it internally uses the battle tested library called Quads in Java. It requires you 0 XML. If you really want to write XML, you can write it. But if you are a Ruby Rails developer, then you really don't like to write some XML. It requires a minimal configuration. There is no manual thread or no process management right now. Like if you have a Rails application, you have to use some gem like whenever to set up your schedule. It will set up your cron into Unix cron. Then it will mess up your cron file. And if you want to sleep better at night, that your application is still sending emails to your user, reminder emails, stuff like that, then this is the best solution. So let me show you the code how the scheduling is working. So let me introduce you this file called talkbox.yml. This file is basically responsible for all the configuration which you want to have in your Talkbox. So as you can see here, I have a jobs column, this jobs colon, and then I have a mail notifier, which implies to a class called mail notifier. Then I have a job colon mail notifier. Then you can see here this cron, which looks like the Unix cron, and you can say that, okay, I want to run this cron at this time, and there is some description. We'll talk about this services in the next slides. So this job. So let me show you the mail notifier, because we have described the mail notifier here. And so yeah, here's my mail notifier class. So here I have to just override this run method, in which I have written send reminder notification. So whatever time you have set up here, it will run this method called run, and it will do whatever you want. So right now I'm just printing sending mail, because previously it's actually we are using action mailer to send email, but it requires internet connection. It might got down. So here you can see that the sending mail is just executing so and so on, because the frequency is very less right now. So it will perform the operation. Yeah, so this comes built in into the Talkbox, the scheduling.
So scheduling is great, right? You don't have to do any create any manual threads, not create any manual processes, write any cron. Just one config file, one override, and you're done. And similarly, it's the case with long-running services. Now, long-running services have been a pain in not so much, but a little bit of pain in Ruby on Rails applications. You have to install a certain gem, Redis, Rescue, or you do it with backgroundable. But Java also gives you great things, which is like the full JVM OS thread, which is great for these kind of jobs, because you just spawn a thread, you can specify a pool of thread, you can specify the max number of threads, all those things which utilize your cores. And you don't have to worry about anything in Talkbox. Again, you have to just create a simple entry inside your talkbox.yml file. This would be under the services section. Give it the class name, give it some configuration. You can even pass parameters here. I'm just passing hello. And this is my like the long running service message notifier, which I specified here. And you need to override a few methods here if you want, like the initialize method. You pass it your options here, or it gets the options here which you have specified in your config file. So you can just say hello, for example. There can be start, stop methods, just so that you can control the life cycle of this thread. So again, all this is done with very little configuration and almost zero thread or process management. Cool. Are we impressed so far, or we are like not so good? Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at another great feature called messaging. Messaging has been used in the enterprise for a long time, especially banks. Java messaging specification. Anyone heard of it? Okay, so it's a specification provided by Java Enterprise JEE, which basically says that what it says is that two JVMs running on two completely separate machines can exchange messages with each other as long as they fall within these specifications. And this is a great way to achieve loosely coupled code, because imagine you have thousands of trades being executed at the stock exchange, and you want to process them somewhere else in your back office. So then, during these circumstances, like you would want to use something for messaging. One system is procuring objects, another one is maintaining an inventory. Whenever you purchase an item, it sends a message to the inventory. Okay, this is a new item in my warehouse. Do whatever you have to do with it. So JMS is supported out of the box. JMS again is a specification. There are various implementations, and usually each application server gives its own implementation in the Java world. In JBoss, Hornet Queue is the implementation of JMS. We'll not look at that, don't worry, I'm not going to show you any Java code. What we'll actually look at is Advanced Messaging Queuing Protocol. Anyone heard of it? AMQP. So this is a great protocol. It's a wire level protocol, again introduced by JP Morgan, basically because they didn't want the constraint on messaging that both servers have to talk Java, which was there with JMS. What they basically created a specification for a wire level protocol. As long as the binary message is compatible with the specification, two languages can talk to each other. So in our case, we'll do it with Java and Ruby. I'll just give you a demo. And basically, RabbitMQ is our implementation. Again, AMQP is a specification. RabbitMQ is the implementation. It's open source. It's highly scalable. It boasts of being able to process millions of messages per minute. AMQP is not supported out of the box in Torquebox, but with very little configuration, you can use Bunny gem, which is open source Ruby created gem in it. It supports Stomp out of the box, which is a variant of AMQP, but we'll not look at that. Stomp is more like text level rather than binary level. So we've talked a lot about concurrency and stability, and that is why AMQP is needed. Like you can have things like queues, where there is one producer, one consumer watching over a queue. So the producer sends a message on the queue, the consumer pulls it out, works with it. Or there can be queues like where you want multiple workers. So you send two messages, two workers parallelly work on it. Or you can have pub sub, right? So there are publishers and there are subscribers. Subscribers are interested only on certain queues, whereas publishes it according to like what the configuration is. So you can have different things like routing based on a certain condition. It will be routed to a queue. There will be topics, RPC. We will not look at all of these in detail. But what I wanted to tell you is that AMQP is a really good concept, and it helps application achieve high scalability with concurrency. Cool. So here in the message notifier, I'm actually using the AMQP Bunny gem. And actually what I've done is in my run method, I'm just saying notify, run the notify method and sleep for 5 seconds. In the notify, I am actually looking over a queue which I have passed in as a configuration parameter and check if that queue has any payload and just print out that payload onto the console. Right now the queue is empty, and lo and behold, this is NetBeans, my favorite Java IDE. So here I have given the same queue name. It's the same. It's on localhost. It's the same message broker. It's the same RabbitMQ, which sits in between, makes everything work. And here I'll just say hello Ruby conf. Hopefully it works. As you can see, Java is very verbose. Connection factory, new connection factories, factory.setHost, blah blah blah. The Bunny gem is yeah. So you can see hello RubyConf has been received onto the on your Ruby application server. So this is pretty cool, at least for me. My Java code is sending a message to my Ruby application, and the code on the Ruby side is very little. It's actually 5 lines. Just set up Bunny, tell it the queue name, and print it out. So AMQP. So we've covered scheduling, long-running services, and messaging. Let's move on.
So now we'll talk about a little bit about background processes, how we do background process in Talkbox. So it's as easy we showed you as scheduling, services, messaging. So let me go back to the code for this. So right now in Rails application, we mostly use rescue with Redis background. We use delayed job, or we use async for solving this process. Like we have to send thousands of email in one shot, so we put them in queue and then we process it. It's like we just backgrounded that. So Here I can show you. So Talkbox comes up with a background module, which is, yeah. So you just have to include this Talkbox messaging background table, and you just have to write this always background and then the method name. So this process will go into the background, and so right now it's just sending user.welcome email, user.deliver, so it will deliver some email. So this process will always go in background. And so how many of you heard about the concepts of futures in Java? So it's, so in Talkbox you can use, or you can have the status of a background process. Suppose you have backgrounded this task. Now you want to keep track of this task for reference, like it's completed or it's giving an error, or if it's still running. So there is a class in Talkbox called futures. So you just say futures equals and then process name, the task name, and the future object will give you the status on that task, that it's done or it's still running. So this will solve the major problems of sending out of the background the task basically.
Basically, you can just do future is equal to user mailer dot welcome. So if you just want to see whether the mail has been successfully delivered, what we usually do is when the user signs up, we create a thread so that the mail gets sent in a separate thread because the user doesn't have to
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
So that is all just one line in Talkbox.
So next is clustering. So clustering is also very easy. You just have to pass hyphen hyphen clustered. So how the clustering by default works in Talkbox, it's like if you have a 4 or 5 servers in a LAN, and you started the same application using Talkbox and clustered, they all become in a cluster. So they will share the cache, they will share the process and stuff. So clustering is very easy. And if you want to use for Apache, then you can use the mod cluster thing for this, and that will run as a proxy, or as a proxy for all of the Talkbox servers. Right?
Yeah, and all the features that we've talked about so far, backgroundable scheduling. So you want scheduling just on one part of the cluster, on all servers of the cluster.
Yeah.
That is also like that is very easily configurable. You can run your background tasks on all the clusters. You can share them. You can just run it on one single server of the cluster. All that is very much possible just in your configuration.
So next is caching. So like in Rails, we have memcache store, we have file cache store, and we have memory store. So in Talkbox, the tools is used like InfiniSpan, which is again a cache store, and you can just say my cache store is Talkbox cache, and your all the caching is like will store in the InfiniSpan data grid, and that cache will share across the cluster, and there is no much configuration required. You just have to start the server, say my cache is, you don't have to actually run the memcache or any other DRB servers for storing your cache. It comes with the Talkbox server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any questions so far, or too quick, too slow, sleepy? It's okay. Okay, so let's talk about performance. Sorry if it is not too visible. So these are the benchmarks provided by the Talkbox team. They ran the simple application, I think Spree, which is a open source payment like e-commerce application. They ran it with Talkbox 2, which is kind of right now in the candidate release phase. Trinidad is another application server that is like JRuby, that is for JRuby. So what it does is similar to Talkbox, it provides a layer of JRuby on top of the Apache Tomcat application server. So you get some features out of it. So Trinidad and Talkbox are pretty much the same. They have the same difference as JBoss and Tomcat have. So these tests were run with Talkbox, Trinidad, Passenger, and Unicorn. So the first graph actually shows the latency, which is the response time. Basically, lesser is better. How quickly your site responds. So when you hit the site, how long does it take to give you back the page? And as you can see, Talkbox, the orange line is it's close to like it's towards the bottom. It's close to 60 or 70 milliseconds of response time. And what they've done in this test is they have run these performance tests over a period of time. Like this is like around 2 hours, and they kept increasing the number of users who are hitting your application server. So as you can see, Talkbox is pretty much stable around 60 to 250 milliseconds, whereas the other servers like the graph goes up over time, especially for Unicorn. So Unicorn, according to the test they have done, consumes more time to serve request as the application uh, is being used. So throughput, again, throughput is the number of requests you are serving per second, and that is also a pretty good indication of how much load that your application can take. Again, Talkbox and Trinidad are pretty much the same. Passenger and Unicorn also very similar, but over a period of time, just there is a small gap that comes between the JRuby based servers and the normal Ruby based servers. CPU usage, I think someone was asking earlier, like how is the behavior over a period of time, like how will my CPU and memory be? And I think again, Talkbox and Trinidad, both JRuby application servers perform pretty well. There's not a lot of difference between the other servers, but yeah, between 75 to 80% over a period of time is the CPU utilization. And free memory, like JRuby will initially consume a little bit more memory, and it has a higher startup time, but as soon as the cache gets warm or the hotspots, all those things kick in, the memory consumption is pretty much stable and even goes down. So the memory also consumed is pretty much lower in terms of Talkbox, Trinidad, Talkbox and Trinidad, which are our normal JRuby application servers.
So, what are the risks that if we are using the Talkbox? Uh, it might be risks. So, version 2 is quite stable, but still in RC1. Let's see when they are going to release it soon, I guess. Upgrading JRuby will not help sometimes, because like if in May JRuby 1.7 comes out, it's not easy to upgrade your Talkbox and upgrade your application which is running on Talkbox. Talkbox guys have to do some of the changes in their code base, and they have to come out with a new version. So, but you will be on a cutting edge open source technology. But documentation is great. Help is available online, and IRC. You can just talk with those guys if you are any problem.
Yeah, so I mean, the risk is that you'll be like working on a technology that is pretty much being developed. It's not like it's very much in like it's very volatile, but it's like yeah, you're on cutting edge. So that is a bit of a risk. But I have worked on Talkbox, and I have application running, small application running in production on it, and the documentation is great. Once I got stuck, I even went to IRC, and those guys helped me out. So it's pretty good. So we have a surprise for you guys. Any guesses? I mean, yeah, let me give you a hint. He's the most loved Ruby developer in our Ruby community. Yes. Okay. We have a video from him. Arun actually has a lot of clout in the Rails community, so he was able to get him to speak a few words to us.
Oh, I didn't see you there. My name is Aaron Patterson, and I'm here to deliver a message to the people attending RubyConf India. I love being a Ruby programmer, and one of the things I love about it is that the people who are in the community are so willing to take a look at themselves and the tools they use and see what it is about the things they use on a day-to-day basis that they can improve, and not just the things that they use, but also looking at themselves and seeing how they can improve themselves. I want to share a story about somebody who particularly inspired me. His name is Nadi, and he wrote the garbage collector for Ruby 193. Now, just only 3 years ago, Nadi was working in an ice cream factory, and he discovered programming. He learned about it at a wedding. Somebody was talking about it, how they could make good money. So he decided he would learn how to become a programmer, and he found an ad in a newspaper and went to a vocational school in order to learn how to program. And from then on, he just decided, wow, I love garbage collectors. So he read about garbage collectors over and over and over again until he felt that he could write one, and eventually he became the author of the garbage collector for Ruby 1.9. Now, that kind of dedication and looking at yourself and improving yourself are the things that I see in people in the Ruby community on a day-to-day basis. I love hearing stories like this, and I love seeing people who improve themselves like this. So if I could deliver one message to people in the conference today, it's to always be looking at yourself, always be looking for ways to improve yourself, and keep pushing yourself as far as you can. Thank you.
So that's it. We wanted to keep this short and sweet. We've given you a feature demo of all the features that Torquebox support out of the box. You've actually seen it running, so thank God for that. Actually, no one got it running really easily so far. And I hope guys will try out Torquebox in one of your hobby projects at least, and try to push it onto a real production application pretty soon. Questions?
Yeah, so how easy is it to take out components and replace different parts of Torquebox? Is it easy to do that, or is it difficult?
Yeah, it is easy. Like if you don't want messaging, let me just close this. Sorry. So if you don't want messaging, you don't want transactions. These are like bundled as separate gems also, so you can remove them. There's the main gem is Torquebox core. The other modules are again given out as gems. Messaging is, I think, the biggest one because it has backgroundable and messaging both included in it. But yeah, it's pretty much you can mix and match these.
Second question is, can you run multiple apps? Does it run in the same instance? Does it have a separate instance? How does it run?
So yeah, it's similar to the Java application server. So Java JBoss, like a normal JBoss, you can deploy multiple VARs and they will run all in under one application server. Same thing with Torquebox. You can deploy multiple applications. You can even deploy a Java application, like I did. I deployed Solar and my Torquebox application on the same like Torquebox instance, and it worked very well.
So I've been deploying specifically REST application both on the JBoss servers like Apache Passenger or Linux Passenger as well as on Torquebox or JRuby based deployments. One of the major pain I feel is that if the application or some dependent gem or library has memory issues, right? So the JBoss servers has an option to kill the processor. So here, even if I have a request timeout or maximum number of requests for different levels, and even after that the thread is killed, all the memories are not released. So I think the pain is similar like what we have seen traditional wars, okay, and the memory footprint slowly steadily keep on increasing. So do you have any patterns of deployment or anything or development where you can catch up those bugs earlier? How you cope up with application that you know that can have bugs, memory leaks, but you want to use them because of a better response time, because of all the hotspot that JVM gives, but still you don't want to go to default mode, right?
Yeah, so I think it's a very good point. We have not really encountered such problem. Probably we haven't done a big enough application on Torquebox that would make us face such problems. But yeah, there is some pain. Like you said, the process don't get killed easily. To detect memory leaks, I would go back to like what I usually do a normal Java application is to profile them, load test them, performance test them before I actually go into production. So profiling usually just means just checking the memory, just keep on hitting the application, checking if the memory just keeps on going increasing, never comes down. That usually means there is a memory leak somewhere in your application. And like I have worked on a lot of gems, everything works great. Like the gems with C extension, for example, I face some problems with Nokogiri because the JRuby doesn't work really well with C extension libraries. So that is something you can't really help right now. You can't do much about it. But it's like it's not perfect. It's not a perfect world. You get all this power of Talkbox, but I think that that is a small price you pay. But if you're really careful and you not use gems with C extensions, just use normal gems written in Ruby, I think you will be in pretty good shape.
Who is using this in production?
I really don't know, but I do know Square. They are developing on Ruby and Rails, and they are deploying on JRuby. I'm not sure if they are using Square is a pretty good startup right now in San Francisco, and but I'm not sure whether they are deploying it on Talkbox. As I said, it's in candidate release 1, so people would be a bit reluctant to adopt it. But like given our normal applications, which have like 50, 60, 70, 100, few hundred odd users, I would not have any qualms of using this. Yes, I am. Actually, it's my a couple of my hobby sites, but we are in an enterprise, so of course there is some resistance to bring in new stuff. But we have some stuff working, and Capistrano is supported, by the way, so you can use it with your normal deployment procedure.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.